The Mental for Moto podcast is proudly brought to you by Graphics by Aqua, SPMX Suspension and Engine Performance, Death Grip Products, Iro, 5 Gloves, Bolt Everywhere Premium Racewear, Shred Bike Care, Works Racing, and Wolf Building Compliance.
There were times I was lost, dark had fear, couldn't see through the rain. In the end it was clear, hit the fan. I was more than one man who was there to lend a hand. Together we'd stand, always at my back, my guardian soldier. Team put together, united we conquer. Blessed is he who in the name of charity carry me when I'm weak straight through the valley of darkness. Pitch blackness, the heartless, regardless, fear couldn't part us. Thick and thin, there by my side. At times we collide, but in the end we ride. Thick and thin, there by my side. At times we collide, but in the end we ride. We ride, ride. I am my brother's keeper. Keep on holding strong. United we stand, divided we fall. Together we belong. I am my brother's keeper. Keep on holding strong. United we stand, divided we fall. Together we belong. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper.
What is up, Moto fans? This is the 2024 AMX Open review show. This was a little bit last minute, wasn't planned. So, anyway, I thought we'd do a review show. So joining me in studio today is my co-host, Zane Mackintosh.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Yeah, what's been happening, Zane, and why weren't you racing?
I had emergency surgery to get my appendix removed nearly 2 weeks ago now, so just letting that heal up nicely. That was a bit of a rough one, but pre-season was going well beforehand, so hopefully back on the bike soon and kicking training into gear for Wanty round one.
It sounds like a pretty poor excuse, mate. I thought you guys were meant to be tough.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know about a few of the other boys, but I'm definitely not the toughest down here.
So what were you doing at the AMX Open over the weekend?
I was living the life, the mechanic life, doing a bit of it all at the moment. So mechanicking for my boy Braden Krebs and helping out Ryan Vandervetter and Hayden. So that was good.
Yeah, so I reckon Braden probably would have gone 1-1 if he had a better mechanic, but we won't hold that against you.
Yeah, no, he had the potential. Definitely let him down on some tyre choices, but I'll cop that.
Well, on that note, what tyres was he running? Was he running a scoop like everyone else?
Yeah, so he was running the Bridgie paddle. So yeah, they're pretty good all-rounder, so they're nice for Wanty. It was good. It wasn't a full scoop for him, but so we're pretty happy with that one.
Nice. Well, before we sort of get into the nitty-gritty stuff, what were your thoughts on the racing in general? I thought it was pretty good. There was a lot of really good racing. There was a few conspicuous absences in terms of who was racing, which we'll touch on. But what were your thoughts on the racing in general?
Yeah, the racing was unreal. All the classes were actually really good racing, which was good. The track, they did really well with the track. I think they played around a bit between how deep they were ripping it. So it was a little bit harder than your standard Wonthaggi that I was used to, but it appeared to make good racing. So it was a good weekend.
And considering the weather was like super hot both days, and thankfully the wind didn't get up too much on the Sunday, they didn't put as much water down as we normally would see at like a ProMX national. So it was a lot drier, and that probably helped in terms of the depth. But it wasn't the same sort of track that we normally see at a national, which was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was definitely choppier than we used to. Definitely a lot harder base, square edgy, kind of rutted up. But I mean, it made for good racing because I know when they rip it that deep in water, you get out of that main line and you're not going anywhere. Like once that main line's kind of formed, it gets pretty one line. So it was good to see. I hope they actually prep it maybe a little bit deeper than the Sunday, but the Sunday was really good for racing. Track formed up well. I heard a lot of good things from the riders. Yeah, like it was definitely rough and they were feeling it, but for a racing standpoint, apparently it looked good and apparently it raced well. So
you might be able to provide some insight into this. A lot of the riders that I spoke to on the practice days in the lead up, where the track was fairly similar, like it was a bit drier and had a harder base, as well as over the weekend, they were all saying the same thing, that their suspension needed to be tweaked and it wasn't performing right. after talking to so many of them, I actually thought it was probably just the track, like it's just the way it forms up. But did Bray give you any feedback on that, or did he have similar things? And what's your sort of thoughts on that in terms of the track versus the setup?
Yeah, so like heading into the deeper one daggy, you kind of run that sandier setup. You pull the forks through, you kind of go a bit harder and a bit slower. Because it was that little bit harder and real chattery, it was real fast. So I know we softened the forks a little bit and the shock 2 clicks each way and sped the thing up a little bit just to handle just that little bit nicer. But, I mean, a few people were definitely struggling. I mean, everyone was dancing. Like, it doesn't matter whose bike you were looking at. It was dancing and sliding and doing all kinds of things. It was just kind of depended how much you wanted to twist the throttle, I guess. But no, it was definitely rough out there. A few of the boys, you could see arms were nearly pumping through their jerseys. It was gnarly. Yeah,
there was definitely lots of complaints about arm pump. You don't want to read too much into some of these pre-season races, but I thought, you know, and other people might disagree, but I thought it was a bit of an insight into what we might expect moving forward. Saying that, there was a few conspicuous absences. So notably, there was no Empire Cowie riders and none of the CDR Yamaha guys. Do you have any idea why they weren't there racing this weekend?
I'm pretty sure I seen Jed Beaton was over in New Zealand. Not sure why Ferris wasn't racing, as I know he's down there this week. So no idea on that one. And I think Empire might have been doing testing. I think they're trying to keep a little suspense coming into round one. But I thought it would have been a good opportunity for them to get out, get some testing done over the Monday, the Tuesday potentially. But, I mean, I don't know what goes on in those big trucks and behind the scenes, but I think they're trying to keep a little bit of a surprise, a little bit of a mystery for seeing where Cloudy and Reed are coming into round one.
Yeah, I don't want to read too much into it, but like I heard that the CDR Yamaha guys in Ferris and Beaton were actually down there training on the Monday and the Tuesday. And like I've seen Beaton riding the Yamaha, and it's obviously going to be his debut with that team come ProMX. And to me, he didn't look super comfortable when I've seen him ride, and it's only been on a couple of occasions, and I've heard the same thing from others. But I also had a chance to talk to him a few weeks ago, and he said he was loving the Yamaha. So have you had any insight into that and where he might be at, or have you heard any rumours about him struggling a little bit on the Yamaha?
Not too much. I've heard a few guys that have ridden with him that early days were a bit rough. Yeah. I think he looks good on Instagram, but I mean, who doesn't? Like, let's be honest.
Photocross.
Yeah, you know, I always speed up my videos a little bit, make me look that little bit quicker. But if he's saying, if I know it's hard to feel good on a new bike, like that change could be hard, but I know he struggled a lot with his suspension at Honda, so I hope for his sake he's feeling good on the bike, and I guess we'll have to wait and see round one.
Yeah, and there's a fairly big difference in terms of the feel between a Yamaha and a Honda, so I imagine there's going to be a little bit of acclimatization, even between practice and racing. Yeah, once that all kicks off.
Absolutely. You know, you can feel as good as you want until you're 25 minutes deep into a 30+ one around Wonthaggi. So I guess that time will tell.
Yeah, they jump straight into the deep end. So anyway, on that note, let's jump into some of the racing. So we'll start with the MX1 class. It was obviously the MX1 debut, the long-awaited MX1 debut for Nathan Crawford and Wilson Todd. And as you could have expected, they were sort of towards the front. Yeah. What were your thoughts on seeing them for the first time racing the MX1 class?
They look good. I know Crawford was 450 a few years back. He went for Supercross. I don't know if he did an motocross on one, but he's a big boy. Like he looked strong. He looked fast. He had a good 30 in him. Same as Wilson. Like if you took Kyle out of the picture, they both looked fairly good. Like I was pretty impressed with both of them. I knew they're going to be coming in fast and fit. So no, they both rode really well, I thought.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to be contending for race wins? Like, might be a bit of a silly question to some of the listeners, you know, or seem like a silly question, but do you think they're going to be contending for race wins as soon as the ProMX starts in the MX1 class? I think so. I think both of them, especially if, I don't know if they're having the back-to-backs again this year, but those shorter motos, I know like those boys, they get a whole shot. I don't see either of them really letting anyone pass. Yeah. Like they can both ride a really wide bike and someone's going to have to be a fair bit quicker than them to make the move. So I think both of them get a whole shot
put down a fast lap or two to start the race. It's going to be, I think it's only going to be your Ferris or your Webster or someone who's really on it that day that's going to get around them.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to do post-race interviews with both of them, and they both had some feedback, I guess, that alludes to them believing that they've both got a bit more in the tank too, like come when round one kicks off. So Nathan Crawford said that he was really happy with the day, but that he had identified quite a few things that they can work on in terms of bike setup and even his own riding. So I think he's got a long way to go. And Wilson Todd, like he sort of said, with the smaller motos or shorter motos, he was happy with his sprint speed, but ultimately, even though he finished equal on points and for the weekend and second overall, he didn't seem real happy after. And he was happy with his speed, but that was it. I don't know whether he was happy with the bike or it was fitness thing, but yeah, he seemed pretty down. So yeah, I'm not sure what that was about.
I think it would just be hard for him because he's won so much over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And even when he did those 2 races on the 450 at the end of 2022, he was fastest qualifier both the last 2 rounds and won a moto at Coolum. Like he was, I think he'd come in expecting to be a little bit ahead of the field. Like I think he thought he was going to have a second or two on Crawford, and he not that it was going to be easy, but I thought he was going to be. I think he thought in his own head he was going to be the guy.
Yes,
instantly, and I think he's kind of going to be like, oh, there's a few guys that are pretty close to me.
Yeah. Well, I guess when you come into a race and you've got that mindset of being used to being the guy that is the guy, it's pretty hard coming into Wonthaggi when you've got Kyle Webster on the track. Like he is just on another level. And even though the overall result for the weekend didn't reflect it because there was a little bit of bad luck with a Moto 1 crash and then later a small mechanical issue that affected his overall result, I think it's hard to argue that he was by far the fastest guy on the track.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I watched him go down in the first turn in one of the races and come back to third and start catching those boys. Like he set the fastest lap of the race on the second to last lap. Like it's pretty hard to compete with that. Like Kyle Webster around Wonthaggi is just a match made in heaven. It's like,
if he can keep it upright, that's always seems to be.
Well, I mean, he was pushing it harder than everyone else. He was dancing more. Like I was in the pitboard area and he was coming past, and that thing was. Doesn't matter how well you set that thing up. It was a rough track, and he was letting it hang out and just was on the throttle, and it was just, it was very impressive to watch.
Yeah, he definitely had some red mist in the goggles, and I was blown away at how quickly he reeled in those front runners in that moto. Like that was just, it was like he was in a different class. It was like watching an A grade guy catching 2 B grade riders, and it's stupid to say that about guys like Nathan Crawford and Wilson Todd, but that's how quickly he was catching them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think those two were playing a bit of cat and mouse as well, which I think held them up a little bit. They weren't quite in a fast flowing state, so it made it a little bit more dramatic, but he was 2-3 seconds clear, and it was awesome to watch. Like I love Kyle, and I hope they can put it all together this year, but it was so impressive. There's nothing better than watching someone ride a bike like that.
Yeah, like we've already said, there was a few guys missing, but based on what you've seen, would you put Kyle as the guy to beat come round one?
Yeah, he's going to be up there. I hope he has 2 solid motos and goes into round 2 with hopefully the points lead, or at least in that battle. I definitely think you could go 1-1 seeing that performance.
Yeah, like you said, I really hope he has a great year. When I interviewed him after Coolum last year, he said his biggest struggle, where he needed to be more consistent, was the hard pack tracks. So seeing get off to a good start in round 1 would be really good, and hopefully he can build some momentum and be up there with like Ferris and Crawford and Todd and Beaton. Man, it's a stacked field. Well, like when you go through it and
cloudy.
Yeah. I was picturing the green bike, like with the number 4. Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting seeing him on the Cowie as well. So
yeah, no, absolutely. I've heard good things. I've heard he's feeling pretty comfy on that. So
I think just on that note, to digress a little bit, he seems to be one of those guys that, like, you look at his last few years and the string of injuries that he's had and the crashes, that has really been a victim sometimes, I think, of the pressure. And I think at the CDR Yamaha team, it's a very serious atmosphere. It's very sort of high level. They expect a lot from their riders. It's super professional. Whereas the Empire Cowie team, I think they're a little bit more chill. You know, they're obviously aiming to be up the front and get the results, but the atmosphere is a little bit chill. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how he performs with that sort of team around him. And I really think he's got the potential, the perception of the pressure being off a little bit, to actually maybe we're going to see the best Cloudy that we've ever seen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's those injuries were gnarly, and I think the change up was needed just for him mentally. New people, new bike, just a fresh start, kind of. And absolutely. I think with a good atmosphere around him, good headspace, he's going to be hard to beat. The talent of that guy is unreal. Like, I mean, they all work incredibly hard for it, and they're all talented on a dirt bike, so it's going to be good to see.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. The MX1 class, again, is going to be stacked this year, and with the addition of Crawf and Wilson Todd, it's going to be some awesome racing. A couple of other notable mentions I wanted to throw in there was Bryce Ognenis, OG.
Yeah.
He looked unreal out there. I was actually really surprised to see how fast and how smooth and how sleek he looks on the bike. Like, he's got some wicked style. He sort of hangs off it and throws it sideways, and even when he's going fast, like he's just looks like he's having a ball out there.
Yeah, he's almost the Aussie Anderson. He's, jersey untucked.
Yep.
A little bit of that hunchback, just swinging off the back. And he by far had some of the best lines out of those boys. Like, he was cutting up a here, there, everywhere, jumping across the track, just absolutely pinned on the smooth line. So it was good to see. He was fast. I mean, he won our state titles last year for a reason.
Yeah. And it was just funny seeing him out there. Like, bike's got no graphics on it, and like you said, he looks a bit loose. Like, sometimes his gear doesn't even match, but he's out there putting it up there with the fastest guys in the country. Even another shout out to Cody O'Loan, who came down from Queensland. He's of course one of the Mental for Moto Rider Support Program athletes. It was awesome seeing him out there making the effort to come down, and he finished with a 7th overall.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He was really consistent. He had one of the better. Wasn't fading. Was smooth. Didn't have any big moments. Bad races. I mean, he probably had a few that we didn't see, but he was solid. And he was championship form, you'd say.
And like you said before, like, the bikes were dancing around. That was one thing I noticed about him. He just looked stable.
Yeah, I don't know if that was him not pushing 110, like keeping it at that 95 and ticking off his laps, or if he's just got that Honda set up well. I don't know from my perspective, but he looked good. He was smooth, he was fast, he was just kept pushing. You kind of seen the timer stop and there's 2-3 laps to go, and especially those 4th to 9th guys were starting to fade, and he was just trucking along. It was good to see.
Oh, awesome. Well, why don't we ask him? We'll get him on the line and, we'll ask him a few questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian.
Hello, how you going?
Good, Cody. How are you, mate?
Good, thank you.
That's good. We're doing the AMX review show. I'm in studio here with Zane Mackintosh, mate. Just thought I'd ring you and ask some questions about your weekend.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. So what's been happening anyway? You chilled and all recovered now?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, made the big trip home.
Yep. How long was that drive?
Oh, it was like 20 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we pretty much do it straight through, so it's a bit gnarly. We don't really stop. So,
mate, privateer life.
Oh.
Did you do the driving? Did you do the driving?
I did a little bit, but I was pretty tired after racing, I won't lie. So, Mum definitely helped a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine, mate.
Yeah, it was
But yeah.
Track looked like it got pretty rough out there, Cody.
Oh, man. Man, Zane, it was that last moto. I was definitely on the struggle bus.
Yeah. A few of you boys looked like you were in the hurt locker.
I was pretty much just trying to finish, I won't lie.
Yeah. We were just saying, before we called you in, that you looked pretty smooth out there, though. And, we were sort of wondering whether you were really pushing or riding at 95%, because you look good. Like, you look comfortable. I know you might have been hurting and the track was definitely gnarly, but you look like you should be out there, and, you were doing really well. What are your sort of thoughts on the weekend?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, I won't lie, I was struggling a fair bit, especially just with what happened last year, my mate passing away and everything. And
yeah, of course.
I won't lie, like, I was struggling a lot, but I just wanted to go out there, ride for him, and get the weekend done type thing. And it was hard, especially with the track getting pretty gnarly.
Yep.
Like, I was trying to just finish, if that made sense.
Yeah, of course.
But no, it was all right. It wasn't too bad, but.
Yeah. So, what were your sort of thoughts on the track, and is it a lot different to what you're practicing on up north?
Like, the choppiness is pretty. We get a lot of choppy up here, like on the tracks and stuff. It gets choppy, and it was like that on the weekend, really. And I found a lot of the ruts with like hook and stuff, and especially coming out of them, like really big acceleration bumps and stuff like that. So I'm kind of used to that.
Yeah.
But I just felt like it got a lot rougher than I've ever ridden it, to be honest. Like, I've done nationals there a few times, and it didn't get as choppy as that, I don't feel like.
Nah, it kind of gets that more roll it out normally. Like, definitely my junior career, when it was a lot, or even early senior, it would always roll her out and never was that choppy, that square edgy roughness that it was on the weekend.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And that's what caught me off guard a bit, I think. And I feel like maybe that was because of the little bikes as well. Like, there's never usually little bikes at a national.
Yeah.
So maybe that didn't help. But I don't know, yeah, it just was a little bit different to what I was used to. And even on the Wednesday when I rode there, it was like hardtack. And I was like, whoa, like, I've never ridden this place hardtack.
Yeah, yeah. And once the little bikes are out there, the lines form up a lot differently, don't they?
Yeah, it definitely was just a little bit different to what I was used to. That's for sure.
Yeah. In terms of like how your weekend went, how does that sort of make you feel heading into round one in terms of your setup and your speed and how you were competing with some of the guys that were obviously going to be racing come round one?
Yeah, it's I'm excited, I guess. Like I said, I just wanted to go down there and just ride the track again, and especially with what happened last year, I just wanted to kind of get those nerves away and everything for round one. Obviously, it doesn't make it any easier, but
yes, of course.
I just wanted to go down there. Obviously, them other boys were hooking on the weekend, though.
Yeah.
We spoke about that. They were absolutely on a flyer.
They were, and I was definitely a little bit off that pace for sure.
Yeah, so, no, that's very understandable. Yeah. I don't think I would have been pushing quite as hard as those other boys. It was it was impressive to watch.
Definitely, I won't lie, it surprised me a bit how far they were flying.
Yeah, they started coming through the pack, and they were lapping guys like, probably 4 laps in, I think.
Yeah, quickly they were going for it.
I definitely didn't really like getting lapped at the end there, that's for sure. But yeah, no, they're all riding really well.
No, but I think it was a pretty good indicator in terms of you seem to be in the mix with, a bunch of good other national riders. So that's got to give you confidence a little bit for the season and where you're at this early stage for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And it was good just to see where I was a little bit with the other guys. And, we just got a fair bit to work on, I think, still. But we've still got a while. I think it's still 5 weeks.
Going back to the track, Cody, you were actually out there racing. How did it form up compared to a nationals in raceness? Like, was it better line-wise racing and that, or was it better at a national when it kind of gets that deeper, rollier, kind of longer ruts?
For me anyway, I like the rolly stuff. I struggle with that real choppy stuff sometimes, especially when you're coming straight out of a corner. Like, it really puts you off. Like, when you're coming out of a corner, it's just super chopped. And I don't know, I struggle with that a little bit. So I would rather the rolly stuff like it does at a national.
Yeah.
I find it a bit easier. So, yeah. And it was, like I said before, just a little bit different in that aspect compared to what a national would be.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think because there was the smaller bikes out there, I imagine, I can only guess, that they didn't rip it quite as deep for this weekend. And even though it was, hot, I actually thought they were going to throw a lot of water down, and they didn't. But I would anticipate come the national, it's going to be deep, and it'll probably be super wet in the morning again. So I imagine it's going to form up a lot more like what you guys have been saying.
I agree.
That's what I thought as well. I thought it'd be the exact same. Yeah, they'd rip it a lot deeper for nationals.
Well, mate, it's been awesome, having you on the line, and it was awesome to see you come down all the way from Queensland and make the effort for the AMX Open, and obviously, I know it was a difficult weekend for you, but all things well, like, congratulations, and it was, great to have you down.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Thank you for having me on, and it was good.
No, totally, our pleasure, and we'll get you in studio around the ProMX, and we'll do a long-form podcast, if you're cool with that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll 100% in for that. I'll be there.
Awesome, mate. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch up again soon.
Oh, awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers. Thank you, Cody.
See you, mate.
See ya.
That was awesome having Cody on the line and getting his thoughts. He kind of pretty much reflected exactly what we said about the track, that it was a little bit different and formed up a little bit different. So
yeah, absolutely. And it's good to see that what we could see from the track was what was happening for the riders as well. Because sometimes it looks a certain way, and when you're actually out there, it's night and day different.
Yep. It was quite poignant too that he mentioned how he felt about Braden Urbacher. They were obviously pretty close, and I think that's going to be it's going to be difficult for a lot of guys come round one. Obviously it's not something that you want to forget. You want to pay homage to it a little bit. He was loved by a lot of the field. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it was poor choice from ProMX to have round one at Wonthaggi again. Yeah. I obviously don't have a problem with them having a round. I think round 1 and 2 should have been switched personally, just so we could remember. And it's unfortunately as well on the same weekend, so it will actually be the 1 year of his passing. So I think it's going to put a very tragic note to what should be a very exciting weekend. Yeah, celebrated weekend. So one last guy that I wanted to talk about in the MX1 class is, of course, our man Chandler Burns. Yes, my home guy. Yep, he was the man of the moment. Probably a little bit unexpected in terms of how he went. For a start, he stepped up to the MX1 class, where he normally races MX2. And he had good results on day one with a couple of fourth places. So he came in behind Kyle, Wilson and Croft, which is pretty good. Yeah, definitely absolutely a good showing. But race one on day 2 on the Sunday, mate. He came out hammering. Yeah, he came out swinging for the fences. It was good to see. It was good to see him lead laps, and he was not scared to rub elbows with those guys. He was not rolling over, and I was excited for him. I was cheering from the pitboard area every time he was coming past. Yeah, same. It's good to see. Yeah, I was back at the track there taking photos at the step down and just watching him battle with those guys, and he got past coming around the corner in front of me, and then past Wilson Todd back in the next corner, and then he was battling with Croft, and I was just I was blown away that he was able to actually hold them off, and they were going at him. They weren't sitting there. They weren't biding their time or anything. No, they were going for it, and he was just there. He was holding them. He was holding his ground, and it was impressive to see. It was good to see him show what he's capable of. Yeah, he's a very talented man on a bike, and he's worked so hard. So it's good to see that he showed everyone else could see how fast he truly is. Yeah. I had him on the podcast 4 or 5 weeks ago, and he'd only been back on the bike at that stage for a week or two. So I think he pumped up a little bit, and he said to me in our post-race interview that he was giving it 100%. But, another 5 weeks of fitness, he's definitely got the talent. He's got the speed. It's going to be interesting to see how he goes come ProMX, and I think maybe we'll get him on the line because I've definitely got a few questions I'd love to ask him. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it should be good coming into a round one. Hopefully see him healthy and fit. So yep, should be good. All right. Well, let's see if we can get him on the line and ask him a few questions.
Hello.
Hey, Chandler, great to have you on the line, mate. We'd originally planned to do this a couple of days after the AMX Open when I had my co-host Zane in studio, but unfortunately things didn't play out that way. So for the listeners, we've recorded this at a later date and I've spliced it into the podcast. So first of all, give me your thoughts on the AMX Open, the track, the event in general from your perspective.
It was pretty good, to be honest. The track crew, Ross, Townsend, and everyone at the club did an awesome job with getting the track ready and putting on the event. So I think it was a pretty big success for them and Yareve also. So overview of the event, it was quite good. You know, there was some good racing in both sort of the main classes like MX1, MX2, and then MX3. There was some good racing as well, and also in the junior classes. So I think it was a pretty good weekend.
For the AMX Open, you raced a CRF 450 in the MX1 class, but you normally ride MX2. So what brought that about?
Yeah, so I just got a 450 for training on, like sort of in the pre-season and throughout the year, just to sort of save a little bit of money rather than riding the 250 flat out. So yeah, just sort of did that and was just riding it at the time. So I sort of didn't really have any 250s ready to ride anyway. So I sort of just had to race the 450, but I enjoyed it. So it was no drama.
Oh, awesome. So can we expect to see you racing in the MX1 class when ProMX rolls around, or at any other events in 2024?
Don't think I'll be racing MX1 at the ProMX. I'll still be on the 250, but I'll definitely sort of race the 450 at a few other events, like the state titles and things like that, and sort of just spend a little bit more time on one and sort of get used to it a little bit.
Oh, that's cool. So are you looking to step up to maybe MX1 next year? Is that part of the plan?
Yeah, possibly. Sort of just taking it day by day, sort of at the moment. Like I said, it was more just a cost sort of saving thing, but I enjoy riding it, so we'll just sort of see how we go. The more I ride it, we'll just see how I'm riding it, and see what the thoughts are, and talk it over with Ross, my trainer, and Dad, and just sort of see what we're thinking and go from there.
Yeah. I was out on the track taking pics, and must admit I got pretty excited seeing you not only lead laps at the AMX Open, but battling with accomplished racers like Wilson Todd and Nathan Crawford in Moto3. I think it definitely opened up a lot of people's eyes, but what was it like going head-to-head, at least for a few laps, with those guys?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like, I sort of got a good start in that moto, and sort of Carl was in front, and then he had a bike sort of problem, and luckily I trained with a lot of fast guys, so I sort of just went, okay, I'll just try and put down some of my best laps and just see what happens, and then sort of held the lead for a little bit.
Yep.
It was sort of a little bit surprising, but also sort of not crazy surprised. It was just nice to get out front and have sort of clean air. You know, it's normally I'm sort of not the greatest starter and sort of got to come through the pack, so it was good to get a good start and then try and sort of battle with those guys a little bit and not sort of throw in the towel as they sort of tried to pass me a little bit. I've sort of tried to put up a bit of a fight for as long as I sort of could, and then once the arm pump kicked in, that was I just tried to keep it on two wheels and not do anything silly. Yeah,
that was one of the best bits about it, seeing you swap the lead. I think it was with Wilson Todd when I was down at the back of the track with that step down. He went up the inside of you, and then you got the run on the outside and cut him off to the next corner. It was it was pretty cool to see. When we chatted after the races on Sunday, you didn't actually seem all that surprised about having the speed to be up front. Obviously, Crawford and Wilson are stepping it up to MX1 this year. But in terms of potential, where do you see yourself in the MX2 class when the ProMX rolls around?
Sort of my expectations are sort of top 10. I think I should sort of be there sort of week in, week out at the Nationals. But then, obviously once you sort of get there, you want to do a little bit better also. So I'm sort of hoping and aiming to sort of be a top 10 guy every round, and then if all goes well, maybe top 5, and then once you get there, I'll probably want to get some podiums and stuff as well. So just take it round by round, and obviously don't get too crazy ahead of myself, and just try and tick off one thing and then just keep trying to improve.
Yeah. When I had you on the podcast just at the very end of last year, you sort of just started getting back on the bike. So where's your fitness at now that we're, I think 3 or 4 weeks out from ProMX kicking off?
Yeah, pretty good. I always sort of didn't really sort of stop training off the bike. I just wasn't following a proper program and stuff. So now that I've done quite a few weeks of that, and then about a month and a half of riding as well, it's pretty good at the moment. So it's just sort of fine tuning some things on the bike and just sort of riding a bit smarter and working on little things like that really at the moment. But yeah, in terms of fitness and stuff, it's pretty good at the moment. And
finally, it was good to see you rocking the new Thor gear at the Open. You've obviously lined up some new support for this season. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I'm stoked to have Jesse Force on board for this year. So they're helping me out with Thor, neck and rock oil. And yeah, it's been really good. So they've they've been a massive help and so good to gear. It's really comfy and light, so it's nice to race in it and wear every day at the track. And yeah, sort of can't say anything bad about them. You know, they've sort of jumped on board at late notice, and they've sort of done as much as they can to help me out and yeah, do what they can for me throughout the year.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks heaps for your time. Really appreciate it. And yeah, good luck at Hervey Bay this weekend.
No worries. Thank you.
All right. It was good to get some thoughts from the man himself, Chandler Burns, mate. He was definitely raising a few eyebrows over the weekend, that's for sure. So let's move on to MX2 now. What were your thoughts on the MX2 class? It was definitely a strong field. And like we sort of talked about off air, the lap times that those boys were throwing down, and obviously track affected, but I think on Moto 1 on day 2, they were 3 seconds faster than the MX1 guys. So, yeah, these guys are quick.
Oh, yeah, they were boogieing. It looked like a Beans practice day, just a training day. Those boys were just, other than Cosford, those boys were just, you know, they were making moves and passing each other, and it was great racing, but
yeah,
they just looked like they were unfazed. Just another day, just another Wednesday afternoon down at Wonthaggi. It was actually impressive to watch.
Yeah. How does it make you feel knowing that, you know, in a few weeks' time you're going to be battling with those guys?
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun. It'll be exciting when they come around to lap me. But no, it should be. I know where the bar's at and I know where I'm at. So, you know, I won't be quite with those guys, but I know what to expect of myself. So it should be good. But I know I'm racing some of the best guys in the country, well, the best guys in the country,
for sure.
And some of the best guys in the world. So
yeah, I know the MX2 class is meant to be a support class, but like you said, some of these guys are the best riders in the country. You know, obviously with the top MX1 guys, but as far as skill and fitness goes, there's really no difference. So I guess first of all, let's have a little chat about last year's MX3 champion Byron Dennis, who obviously made his debut in MX2 this weekend, and yeah, he came out firing.
Yeah, no, he was fast. He was really fast. Him and Connolly, I think it might have been race 3 that they were going at all moto, and it was, you know, it finished with a second between them, and he was fastest in race 2 and 3, I believe. So yep. He had the speed. Would have been nice to see him get off the gate
a bit better.
Yeah, he was coming through from that 5th, 6th every moto, which makes it hard on himself. But man, can that guy ride a dirt bike?
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, you know, with a start up front, he's going to be in the mix. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So definitely a strong start for him in the MX2 class. You just mentioned the other guy that we're going to talk about as well, Brodie Connolly, mate. Like, what a start.
Yeah, that was a championship ride, as in I think he had every hole shot, and he just, you know, sprinted those first few laps, got a nice little gap and just rode his race. It was, you know, a few of the other boys were putting in a charge to catch him, and he didn't crumble under the pressure, nothing. It was good to see. It was I think seeing that ride, I think he's got the championship favourite in my head.
Yeah, I think the same thing, yeah.
You know, the only one with the question mark next to him is Reece Budd.
Yep.
I don't know how he is on that Husky up in Queensland. Don't know where he'll stack up, but considering that was majority of the big hitters down there on the weekend, I think he's going to be hard to beat because he can definitely get off that gate well. So
yeah, and like we sort of said, and I think he's had a few years under his belt now in the MX2 class. I mean, Uriev's always been a massive advocate for Brodie, but like you said, he's got to be the favourite, I think, in my eyes as well, coming into the 2024 season. It just looked like he put it all together now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's always had the speed, no doubt, and I think he's cleaned up those silly little mistakes because he was consistent as all hell. I think he was the most consistent rider of the whole weekend.
He looks more mature, like when he
rides.
He
does. You know, there's not quite those feet dabbing, swinging for the hills looseness. Like, I mean, he can definitely wick it up when he needed to, but he was smooth, calculated, and he looked like a championship rider.
I think the other thing that makes him strong is that he is really, really good in a range of conditions. Like, obviously, he won at Albury, Wodonga last year when it was a complete mutter. You know, now we've seen a hard pack track at Wonthaggi, and he was dominant. And when it gets deep, we already know he can be dominant as well. So
yeah, no, he's coming from New Zealand. I think they got quite the array of conditions over there, and yeah, no, I've seen them ride some of the gnarliest ruddy clay tracks
Yep.
And those deep sand tracks they got over there as well. So that man can do it all. So
he's going to be the man to watch, I think. Yeah, come ProMX. The other one I wanted to touch on was Noah Ferguson. To me, like when I was watching, I actually didn't realise how high up in the standings he was. He normally has quite a bit of a showy style, you know. He hangs off the bike, he lays it down, sort of scrubs a lot. He didn't look like that on the weekend, so he didn't stand out to me style-wise, but like looking on the timing sheets and the results, he had great results and he rode well.
Yeah, no, I think the track didn't quite favour his riding style. He likes that little bit, that looser, that sandier, kind of just can kind of push the bike in, throw it into turns, carry a lot of momentum, where there's that little bit choppier. You had to be a little bit more tentative on the throttle and roll speed because the track, you could only push the track so hard in sections. But, I mean, he was fast. He was fast when he was on two wheels.
Yeah. So how much of that do you think, too, was because of the bike? He's obviously switched to Honda now, and this is the first time we've seen him. Do you think that had anything to do with the bike? And have you heard anything about how he's acclimatising to the Honda?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the jump between a Euro and a Jap bike is always going to be a big one. Whether good or bad, it depends. But I think he was struggling early with it. I've heard some things that his first few days on it wasn't the best, but I heard he was also incredibly comfy on that gas, which is going to be hard to compete with. But I heard he's feeling pretty well now. I mean, he looked impressive on the weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
The bike, you know, I think he said that he made a few adjustments and is making progress. So I hope over the next few weeks he can get dialed in on that thing, because I'd love to see him. He's another guy that I'd love to see
up there
on that top step of the podium.
You know what I mean? And he's another dude that definitely has the talent.
Yeah.
And I guess when you look at the results and the fact that maybe he didn't look as relaxed as he normally would on the track, but he was still up there, I guess that's a really good sign that there's still a lot of room for him to improve on that Honda and get more comfortable. And, yeah, maybe we will see him up there, like going toe-to-toe with Connolly this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, that first race, he reeled him in, and I've never seen someone hit the second best option so fast, so many laps in a row, and then he obviously went down pushing because the track couldn't quite hold his speed he was pushing. But, I mean, he was fast, no doubt about it, so I think he gets off the gate. Any given moto, I think he'll be one of the guys to beat.
Oh, I can't wait. And the last guy I just wanted to mention in the MX2 class was Jai Constantino. It was his debut with the Elliott Brothers team. Speaking to him, he was super happy to be back on a Euro bike. And the one thing I did notice with Jai, he's always really good. He was good on the Empire. He was good when he was a privateer. But having watched him a few weeks ago on a practice day out at Wonthaggi, I think he was the fastest guy out there on the day. He looked relaxed. He looked like he just looked super fast, like he was laying it down. And I don't always see that on race day with him. So is that something that would you agree with that? Like, you've obviously seen him ride a lot. I just think he's got more in the tank there, and it's just about, maybe the pressure or the conditions on race day that are holding him back a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think as well, I believe that was his first race back.
Yep. Yeah, of course, after a long...
12 months off. I think it was AMX Open last year.
Yep.
He broke his femur, and I heard that he had a bit of trouble with that in the recovery, and it was quite an extensive thing. So I'm happy to see him healthy, back on the bike and riding at the pace he is. But I think definitely race day nerves. You could see, like, his early laps where it was just that raw sprint. I won't say he sucked, because none of those guys suck. But he was struggling to keep with those boys, and then once they were 5-6 laps in, he was fine. He was starting to catch them back. He got in that flow. So I think, a few more gate drops, a few more good starts. I hope he does a few more little races before round one, get a few more gate drops, a few races, even a local one, just to kind of get a win or two.
Yes.
Just kind of get his confidence, and because he knows he can run with those boys. Like you said, he does it on practice days. So I just hope he gets rid of those nerves, finds a bit of confidence, and I'd love to see him up there.
Yeah, I think he's also one of the nicest guys in the pits. Like, I love chatting to Jai. It doesn't matter where I see him, at the practice track or down at Oney or on race day. He's always up for a chat. He's just a super nice guy, and he's obviously got the talent. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him back on the Euro bikes with the Elliott Brothers team. And I hope he has a great season this year. He definitely deserves it. And, you know, he's done the hard yards certainly over the last 12 months with a string of just unfortunate injuries that seemed to plague his whole 2023 year and the time that he was with Empire Cowie. So,
no, absolutely. So I just hope that he probably suffered a bit of arm pump as well, bit tight.
Who didn't?
Well, like I'm not sure exactly how long he's been on that gas and things like that. So they're probably still playing around with a bit of suspension and things like that. So I think a few of those boys that were kind of not quite 110 on the weekend, I think a few of them are going to find a few things coming into round one in the next 5 weeks.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I think we might see a bit of shuffling around once, you know, some riders find some more form and more settings and they get that fitness actually up to
standard.
Yeah, ProMX level.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yep. All right. We'll move on to the MX3 class and then we'll just have a quick chat over some of the other classes on the day as well. MX3, Kai Woods.
Wow. Just wow. Like we know how fast that kid is. He won Appen last year. He showed flashes of speed at numerous rounds, but he looks incredible. There's no doubt about it. For a kid that's not a lot of him, he throws that 250 round.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, like, what do you think happened? Well, you might know what happened. I think it was race 1 on day 2, like, because he was out there in front the previous races, and then it was like he came around quite back in the pack. Did he have a tip over, or was it just a bad start?
I'm 95% sure it was a bad start. I think one of the other guys got a bit of a jump on him and chopped him, kind of knowing he was getting off the gate well. The old start next to him and put the elbows out.
Yeah.
But no, he come around in pretty much 800ths on that first lap. Yeah. I was at the end of that first turn there, and I watched everyone else go past, and then here come Kai. So
yeah.
But he put on a charge. Got through the field quickly. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, he was on a flyer.
Last year in the ProMX, the MX3 class, I think produced some of the most exciting and contested racing. A couple of other guys that have definitely looking good so far were Seth Birchall and Cade Kingsford, who tied for second, third on the weekend. What were your thoughts about them?
Yeah, no, I was impressed. I heard rumours that Seth wasn't even going to be racing this year. He was going to get a full-time job.
Oh, wow.
Because he works full-time. Worked full-time last year and still raced. So I don't know if he's still working full-time now or what the go is with that situation. But, yeah, it's good to see him now on a ride and obviously still riding fast and competing. So that was good to see. Cade looked good. Cade looked solid. I mean, we've seen he was fast in Supercross.
Yeah.
I heard he was struggled with a couple little injuries and he hadn't been on the bike for a while. So I don't know how true that is, but I hope he's, finds some good form and maybe even finds a few more seconds and a bit more fitness. So
yeah, one thing I noticed with him, because I was taking some pics of him over the weekend, was he was hanging it out a bit, like he was throwing a few whips and a few scrubs, and it was actually fun taking photos of him because he looked comfortable out there.
Yeah, both of those Kingsford brothers can get that bike upside down.
Yeah.
It's, you always know when they're on track because they are sideways.
Yeah, and it's definitely talent because there's not much of either of them.
No.
They probably weigh about 50 kilos combined, I think.
Yeah, but no, that was they both look solid.
Yep.
I'm excited to see how racing goes. There's obviously a lot of names that are still in Queensland and doing different things, but I think that MX3 class is going to be packed.
Yeah,
as per usual.
Yeah, and with Byron Dennis moving up, it's opened the door now for who's going to be the next big guy.
Yeah, as Jack Mather stepped up as well, who was your other arguable champ.
Yeah.
I mean, the real question mark is Jake Cannon.
Yep.
How is he doing after his crash in Supercross? Is he healthy? Is he back on the bike? Is he coming in at 100% or is he coming in at 80%? I guess that's the biggest question. We'll see.
Yeah, and that's the thing that makes this bench racing from the preseason races fun, is there's always going to be guys missing, and you just don't know how it's going to stack up. Yeah, one more shout out, I guess. I think it was the first moto in day 2 as well. It was the last moto in day 2. Caden Strode.
Yeah.
Yep, 5th in the last moto, mate. He put it all together and it was awesome to see.
Yeah, no, he struggled day 1. I spoke to him that night and kind of talked to him about a few things and helped him on day 2, and it was good to see, the kid's got talent.
Yeah.
Definitely needs to work on just a bit of experience, getting off the gate well in a few of these first laps. But, man, it was good to see because he was running those times. He belonged up there. There wasn't like there was a crash or things, and he was gifted it. And he started, I think he even started 8th and climbed his way up.
Yeah.
So he passed some big names, and it was really good to see. So I just hope he can put it together at Nationals, get out the gate well, and show these guys what he's got.
Yeah. You could probably provide a little bit more experience in terms of when I watch him ride, he just looks like he's got like a lot of talent. He's got a lot of maturity on the bike for his age. Do you reckon over the next couple of years he can be up there with those front runners?
Absolutely. If you like, I've known Caden since he first started racing, and if you knew how far he's come, he's definitely got the determination for it. He doesn't have any give up in him. So I hope I can give him a few pointers along the way as I believe he's probably faster than me now, but I'm a little bit smarter in the head on race day. I'll definitely tell him that one.
Yeah.
But I hope he can put it together and get some really good results and get a bit more support.
Yep. Old veteran Zano passing on that wisdom.
Yeah, washed up already.
Yeah. The women's class. Who the hell is Danielle McDonald and where did she come from? Because that was just, I may have been living under a rock, but mate, she was up there and battling with, all the women that we know at the top of the field.
Yeah. I heard of her at Nationals. I heard she was a big name in the off-road scene, and normally those off-road guys don't really translate too well. They obviously have that speed, but when they're not used to that 30-minute or the 20-minute moto and the rut, they don't really translate the best to track. And she was shredding. There was no doubt about it. She was fast. She wasn't fast for a girl. She was fast. End of story.
Yeah.
Those front girls were on a flyer. It was good to see.
Yeah, and mate, she is a total savage. I was on, what's the jump? The big step up corner.
Number 6, I believe.
Yeah, so I was on number 6 taking photos, and she went over the bars in practice in the morning, and I was standing right there, and it was massive, and I did not think she was going to get up. I was like, that's it, her day is done, and she was down for a bit, and I just threw the camera on the ground because I thought it was a big one, and I was waving the other riders over to the side of the track away from her, which is not something I would normally get involved in with the camera, but she was on the, just past the down ramp, and she was down for a little bit. She got up, and then she got back out there, and there's no way that bike was straight, and there was plastics missing, mate, and she got back on and just laid down some heaters. Straight after that, and I just was like, she is a savage.
Yeah, she put on a Deegan ride there. I'm pretty sure those bars were pretty bent up.
Yeah.
I seen her ride in with those, and
they're like cafe racer bars.
Yeah, things were smoked.
So, yeah, definitely super impressive weekend from her. She finished first overall, so she won the weekend with Maddie Healy in her debut on the Gas just behind. So she looked great on the Gas as well, and I would say arguably better on the Gas than the Honda.
Yeah, I've spoken to her, and she is so comfy on that thing. She said she's been on that for a little while, bit earlier before they announced the team and things like that. But she said she's feeling some of the comfiest she's been on a bike in a while. So I hope she finds some things and puts it together at Nationals.
Yeah, she said to me as well, she was one of those riders that said that she was stoked to be back on a Euro bike. So yeah, and I know she sees herself as being a potential champion contender.
Yeah, without a doubt. I definitely see her on the championship podium at the end of the year.
Yeah, she's another one with the confidence and determination, I think, to be up there. Third overall on the weekend was Mia Tung.
Yeah, that the women's class was good racing. It's good to see how there was a lot of them on the gate.
Yeah,
so that was good to see. It's good to see good racing. And shout out the Yuri for slotting them in a good spot. They were third on the day. Normally they get pushed back to last race or something and everyone leaves before their motos. But no, they were right in the prime time and they had just as many watches as the MX1 and the 250 boys.
Yeah, they put on just as good a show. Last one to mention was Emma Milesevic. Great day one. Unfortunately, there was a crash on day 2 in the third moto of the weekend, so first moto on day 2. And she was involved in an incident with another rider, but she was looking super, super good. She finished that Moto 3, but didn't come out for Moto 4, so hopefully she's all right.
Yeah, no, I seen her. She's one of the toughest. She's one of the toughest people out there on the bike, and she was sore. Like you could see, she was, she had tears in the eyes, and she was wincing when she came off that bike. So I hope there's nothing too serious with that one, and I hope she's all good for round 1. Hopefully it's just a bit banged up and nothing too serious.
Yeah, and the Cowie rider, I think her name's Taja, the one that she came together with.
Yeah,
definitely. Thoughts with her. Early accounts are that she's going to be okay and make a recovery, but that was a big one. So
yeah, I heard she'll be out for a little bit, but I know her personally, and glad to hear that she's okay. So that was good. It was good to hear.
For sure. And we'll just have a quick rundown on just some of the support classes. The MX85 class, mate. Seth Thomas.
Oh, Cooper Ford. Those nothing better than watching those boys just singing, just that 2-stroke as that things were dancing.
Yeah.
It's the as I put it, it's the equivalent of watching Wilson, Todd and Crawford last year on their 250s. It's the closest equivalent you can get.
Yeah.
Just kids that those 85s couldn't go any faster.
Yeah.
There was pinned everywhere. I don't think I heard them wet off. It was wow, wow.
The thing I love about watching those two, like you can see it when they're riding, is they both feel like they should be beating each other. So whoever's in second place, like they got the eye of the tiger, and it's just like you can see that little bit of frustration and that animosity of trying to get in front.
Yeah.
It was awesome to watch those two battle it out over the weekend.
Yeah, it was giving Ryan Villapoto, Ben Townley vibes from 2007, the Great Outdoors.
Yeah.
They were just going back and forth, and they were just the same speed, and it didn't matter who got second. They were absolutely furious. It was good to see.
Yeah, other notable mentions, of course, were Cooper Danaher, Coop Dog.
Yeah, consistent.
Yep.
It's good to see homeboy up there.
Yep.
I've known Coop Dog since he was on a 50. The family's lovely, so no, it was good to see him now starting to swing off the 85.
Yeah, so great weekend for him. And Richie Lawler, so he come down from up north as well. He'd never ridden Wonthaggi before, and he improved over the weekend with every ride, and I think he ended up with a third in Moto 3 as well. So, he came third at the Marvel Arena Supercross in the 85 class as well. So he's going to be one to watch, I think, over the next couple of years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I seen him getting around at the Supercross, which is cool.
Yeah.
He was one of the first kids to hit the triple at one of the rounds. I think it might have been Marvel, and it's always you see any kid hit a Supercross triple on an 85, and it's a lot of respect to them. They can ride a dirt bike really well.
And the thing with him is, like, he doesn't have the bike or the support that some of those faster guys do. So, like, to be up there competing and be able to get in the mix with those guys, I think it indicates that he's definitely very talented, and he's got that on-bike aggression as well. Like,
he wants it.
Yeah.
He does. You can see that. All those 85 kids do. It's. I think even the kids that were coming in sixth, they were coming in and they were pushing, and they wanted to be third, they wanted to be fourth. So it was good. It's good to see that those younger kids have that hunger, that drive.
Oh, awesome. All right, the junior classes, Junior 250 and Junior 125. Max Compton. So I think you know him pretty well, but everyone seemed a little bit surprised.
Yeah, Maxie Compton. What a little sender. No, I know him quite well, the little menace. Actually did a fair bit of riding with him just before I had surgery. He come down and did an OTMX school, and man, we are down at Rosebud.
Yep.
Deep sand, been pissing down rain, some of the longest straight line ruts, roll it out gnarly. He was talking about how he's this hard pack rider, and I watched the kid come past me, fifth gear, pinned off a single, just scrubbing, and I just went, oh, hard pack, eh? So I was definitely not surprised to see him up front and just sending for the hills. I was actually speaking to him, and he wasn't even that happy with how he rode. He thought he had more in the tank. So
oh wow, yeah.
I'm excited to see him put it together.
Yeah, moving forward.
Hopefully at Nationals, jump onto the back of some of those little bit quicker guys and go for it.
No, awesome. One thing that I sort of noticed was there's a lot of overlap between like the 85, Junior 250 and Junior 125 with a lot of those guys like riding multiple classes there. And I wanted to get your thoughts on something that I sort of observed over the weekend, and it seems like some of the riders really struggle on the 4 strokes or the 2 strokes, and then they excel at the other, either the 4 stroke or the 2 stroke. And yeah, what do you think makes that happen, and why do some of them struggle on the other bike, like they just don't have the speed?
Well, I know personally, as a junior, I was 1,000 times better on my 125. I hated the engine braking. I like the kind of that roll speed, that kind of carry your momentum, not really rely on the power.
Yep.
Because I was a bigger kid on an 85, you kind of get that. You learn you almost your go-kart lines. You got to really open up your turns and carry your momentum. And I noticed there was a few kids on that 250 class that were, your 5th, 6th, that were kind of a little bit point and shooty, a little bit heavy on the rear brake, clutch, just kind of would just wrap the thing on and let it sing, but their entry speed wasn't the greatest.
Yeah.
And then, they're getting on the 125 and it's a bit hard to do that. And then vice versa, there was kids on the 125 that were carrying excellent corner speed and got on the 250 and just couldn't quite replicate.
What makes it hard to carry that corner speed on the 4 stroke?
I know that it's a big bike. I know we'll talk about how Cade and some of those smaller kids can throw it around, but I know I struggled, especially early days. I think it took my 3rd year on a 250 to kind of feel like I was big enough for it to just kind of let it dance.
Yes.
I think it's a bit of an intimidation factor, especially with how rough the track got. But the ergonomics of it, just the inertia, the engine braking. I know, you spend your whole junior career on 2-stroke with no engine braking, and now you got it. And some kids love it. They're like, yep, I can come in that bit hotter. And other kids aren't a fan of it. It kills their roll speed. So I think it's definitely depends on the kid.
Yeah.
I think those kids that step up early, get on to 250s at 14, tend to be a bit better, where those kids that stay 85 till they're 14, 15, love the 125.
Yeah, so that's interesting, because that was another question that I had. Some of those kids, that are on the 125s and 250s and are just stepping up from the 85s, they're tiny. They look so small on those bigger bikes. And yeah, I was going to ask you if you think that they might be stepping up too early, but obviously not from your answer.
Yeah, well, I feel like it just depends. Like, we've seen Cade O'Loan, he was 14, and I mean, he was not a small kid on that 250 even at 14, but he was getting exemptions. Seth Shackleton, there's a number of kids that were stepping up early, and you can see they're a lot better on that 250. And then I was a kid that was 85 a bit later, because I was a bit injury riddled and a bit of a smaller kid. So I only went 250 my last year of juniors. So, I mean, it kind of depends on what their goal is. I feel like 125, you learn your corner speed. You know what I mean? I feel like you learn fundamentals that you need later on the 250 when you get to that little bit faster.
Bit of throttle control.
Yeah, and you can't point and shoot, because you can only point and shoot so fast on a 250, where I feel like on that 125 you carry that corner speed, you get that keeping it pinned everywhere, and I feel like once you get to that level on a 250 it helps you there. But I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
And I guess one last person in class that I wanted to talk about this weekend, because she was definitely a standout. She had everyone talking in the 85 small wheel class, was Eliza Dennis.
Wow. She was, I've heard good things. I know that family well, and, I've seen her shredding 65s at Wagga Wagga Arena Cross, doing doubles, jumping all the jumps, but she was impressive. Like, she was straight up fast. No end of story, and it was good to see.
She smoked the boys.
Oh, she did. She took out the win. Like, it was congratulations to her, Eliza. It was I don't think anyone was cheering harder than for that class.
Yeah. Well, that's got to be so positive for the future of women's motocross in Australia. To have someone like her coming up through the ranks, and like I said, I think even at a young age, it's not very common to have a girl be smoking the A grade boys in the same class.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know growing up, Maddie Healy, she was really fast on 85s and that, and but yeah, I haven't seen someone smoke
that dominant.
Yeah, that dominant on 85 in a long time. So I hope everything goes well for her. I hope the next few years go incredible, and I'd love to see where she ends up.
Yeah, well, with more rounds being added to the women's ProMX series, and definitely talk about potentially having some women's supercross rounds in 2025 if they can get enough interested parties. I think women's motocross in Australia is on a very good upward trajectory, and having someone like that, she's obviously still young and a junior, but having someone like that in the wings, the future of women's motocross in Australia is definitely going to be strong. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I'm definitely excited to see how much it grows over the next few years. So that should be good.
Oh, awesome, mate. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the studio today. I definitely will have to get you back for a couple of these review shows because I love your insight, and I might even have to get you to do some coaching of my crappy riding. So
I'd love to have a day with you out on the track. It'll be good to hang out outside the studio. But thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I think I might not be too happy. I might have a response like Cody when I come in from some of the rough nationals, a bit track shit, rough. Don't like it, but I'm excited.
Hopefully see you back on the bike again soon and fully recovered from your appendix surgery, and then
hopefully that's all going well. So should be nice and healthy soon. Back on the bike in a couple of weeks. Thank you.
No worries. We'll see you round one.
See ya.
Thanks, Zane. And that was our review show for the 2024 AMX Open. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Good to do a bit of bench racing as well for the upcoming ProMX season. So that was a bit of fun and really enjoyed having Zane in studio. Big thanks again to our promotional partners, Graphics by Aqua, SPMX Suspension and Engine Performance, Descript Products, Iro, Works Racing, 5 Gloves, Bolt Everywhere Premium Racewear, Shred Bike Care, and Wolf Building Compliance. Thanks to you guys for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.